ski season just started here in New England, and our local ski hill just opened up for the season. So I thought that would be a great opportunity to see how it will be to ski with my new Osmo Nano for the season. So here we are arriving at the ski area. I just have it on regular daily stabilization settings, 10-bit color. I'm actually filming this in 4:3 aspect ratio and natural wide, and for the sake of this video, you can probably see it was zoomed in to fit the 16:9. And I think this footage looks really great. So this video is just going to show first-person view, me skiing with a camera on my chest. I use the magnetic mount, and I use that to attach it through my ski jacket. And I have it slightly lower on my chest so that I think the angle works better, because if you have it mounted too high, it's like sky view the whole time. So I'm just trying to have it mounted a little lower, and I think this perspective looks really good for the most part for first-person view. First chair of the season. Nice.
Beautiful. Okay.
So on this first run here, I'm still using 4:3 aspect ratio, and I'm using rock steady stabilization in sport mode. So as you can see, there's going to be that natural tipping here while I'm skiing down. Here's what it looks like when we slow down the footage by 50%. And I think the details and the snow, and probably I feel like rock steady gives you a nice natural view of how it actually feels like when I'm skiing. Obviously the horizon is not staying level because it's on rock steady, but I think this is a nice natural look of how it feels skiing down the hill. So I'm trying to avoid a lot of upper body motion when I'm skiing, because that's actually the best way to be skiing, and we want to separate our upper body from our hips. So that's what I'm doing while I'm skiing down. So I'm trying not to tip my upper body a lot. Here on a slightly steeper section, you can see a little bit of jitter. But again, I think that's just a motion of me skiing and how it actually felt versus actual jitters on the camera. But it's definitely really nice on these wide open, flat areas. So recently, DJI released an update, a firmware update for this Nano, and that fixed some of the overheating issues that they were having, as well as they added this new horizontal correction stabilization mode. So that's what I'm actually going to try here on the second run. And that doesn't let me film in 4:3. It bumps it up to 16:9. And I think it's only, at this point, we can only use standard D-warp, so I couldn't use the natural wide on my second run here. So here's the footage from the second run. I actually go down the same trail as I did before. We make some different stops though, so, you know, obviously it's not the exactly same run, but, you know, the terrain it's the same trail all the way down. So now you're seeing the horizon is nicely balanced, but I think in the process of trying to correct for the horizon, it is, it's getting some jittery action here. But we're getting less of that tippy action, so ultimately I think it's going to come down to a preference of the style of your skiing or riding and how you want the footage to come out. So on these flat areas, I think the horizontal correction is an improvement over the Rocksteady. It's just pretty smooth, but the second there's a lot of body movement or steep terrain or a lot of turns, you'll see we get some of that jittery. Got really jittery through that section there. I'm not sure which one looks more natural, actually. I'd be curious to see. I'd be curious to hear in the comments what you think about that. I think this is really jittery right here. Not too happy with that. In a future video, next video on this topic, I'm going to, like I said, do more than first-person view, but I'm also going to try the horizontal balance, because you may be aware that horizontal correction is going to correct up to 15 degrees of pitch, and then the horizontal balancing, which was the original, you know, stabilization option provided with the Osmo, it goes up to 30%. So maybe that 30% before it tries to correct will actually help the jitteriness, because maybe it's trying to correct too soon, too often, and that's what's causing some of the jitters here with horizontal correction. So that's going to be my next test in an upcoming video, as well as trying to get some shots, some action shots, because this is supposed to be an action camera. I'd like to get some action shots besides this first-person view here. So continuing down the same trail, as you can see, we're still getting some jitters, but overall on the flat areas, it's really nice, and I think the horizontal correction on the flat areas probably looks better than the Rocksteady because it's just less of that tippiness. But the second we make some turns, we definitely have some jitters there, probably because the camera's trying to correct right around that 15-degree angle. So I'm curious to see how the horizontal balancing test will go next. ISO and lighting set to just under 0, EV set to just under 0, as you can see with my settings on both of these. So I'm just using auto exposure. Ready? This actually, for the amount I'm turning right here, this looks pretty good. So overall, I'm really happy with how small it is, and it's super easy to ski with. It's super easy to mount right on the front of my jacket. Nobody even noticed that I was wearing a camera. which I think, you know, a lot of times skiers and riders will have the helmet cam, which sometimes the perspective isn't great, and I just think it looks kind of, it's not my favorite look. So next, final comparison. I think I prefer Rocksteady, even though it has the tippiness. I think that's kind of the natural feeling of when you're skiing down the hill. Next, I'll just show you a quick side-by-side here of my two runs. The first run is our Rocksteady run on the left, and the second run is the horizontal correction, which you're seeing on the right. And I think the actual terrain and the details of the terrain is actually much better with Rocksteady, even though it is tipping. And just the jittery shakiness you see on the right there with the horizontal correction. For some reason, I think there's not as much detail in the terrain. It could be because I wasn't able to film it in 4:3 ratio. But I just think the detail, I just prefer the Rocksteady better at this point. But I'm definitely going to try the horizontal balancing next, and like I said, I'll try to get some other shots in different perspectives. So that's all for this video, and thanks so much for watching, and I'd love to hear your feedback and comments about what you think of this, and do you have a preference on the Rocksteady or horizontal correction? And we'll see you in the next video.